Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back, everyone. Episode 22. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for tuning in and listening to us
Always
chat
a pleasure.
shit.
Sometimes a chore, but we're here and we
are
move.
here.
How are we today?
Good, mate. Good. This is going to be our potentially penultimate episode before the new year, before 2023.
Did you recently learn that word?
Penultimate? Yeah. No! When do I ever need to use this word? How often do I say penultimate? Penultimate. It's the second to last one this morning.
You're reading again, were you?
I did get a haircut, by the way. Thanks, mate. Yeah. Cheers. Thanks, mate. It was...
Who cut that?
Isaac. If he listens to this, he'll come after you. Because he cuts your hair as well. Feel free to say whatever you want to the camera.
He obviously just didn't take his time.
Oh, he'll get all the brothers on you, bro.
Joking, Isaac. Joking. You're a very good hairdresser.
I went out last night and I was out for drinks. And I thought I'd go for a couple of drinks. Obviously, you know, you get that Friday feeling. And all through the week, I'm always like, oh, you know what? I really can't be bothered. And then I get to Friday, I'm like, oh, let's just go for like a nice meal of a few drinks. Straight on the margaritas. 6 F margaritas down. Someone asked for fireball. The fireballs come out. Anyway, it got to like 9, half 9. And I'm in one of the bars, bar 34, with all of my mates. And they're like,
to bar 34.
And they're like, oh, do you want to have a few more drinks? I'm like, no, I've got to go home. They're like, what, mate, just stay for more drinks? I'm like, nah, I got to go home. I got to record a podcast tomorrow. They're like, nah, come on. I'm like, I don't need Dwayne coming after me tomorrow, hungover. I'm like, I just don't need it. I don't want it. I don't need it.
I like that.
I'm like, you don't know what it's like. And it's not even the anger, it's the disappointment that hurts them. I just don't need some angry Jamaican lad popping off at me at 10 in the morning. I don't. So I was like, nah.
You've come a long way.
I was like, I'm leaving. And then I got back home and my housemate's like, let's go back out. And I'm like, nah, I'm not doing it. I can't. It was like, the thought of it was just gave me anxiety. I'm like, I'd rather go home, have a good night's sleep. I was a little bit tired, but I had 9 hours sleep, 8 hours sleep. And
I mean, you're always tired.
I am always tired, but, I didn't want to be hungover and tired.
Yeah,
so
not a good combination.
So I cut off the booze at 10, just so I'd be prepared and ready to go.
I'm impressed.
Thanks, mate.
Because normally you just send it.
I know, I was really tempted to, and if I didn't, it had to wake up in the morning. Also, I wanted to get a trim as well. Then I wouldn't have. Done it.
You got a trim. Nice.
I got a trim. Yeah. Thanks,
nice.
I knew you'd notice.
Yeah, you haven't mentioned it before, so I thought
I knew you'd notice.
I thought I'd just give you your props.
I wanted to come and look a bit fresh for this episode. Seeing as the penultimate one before New Year, I thought I'd give it a good crack.
That's a new word as well.
Yeah, it's a new word. I learned it this morning.
Yeah, you haven't said it to me today. Yeah, that's the 5th time you've said it.
I got an interesting.
You said
email.
it like 3 times off camera as well.
Mate, you're being hyperbolic, and I don't appreciate it. You're being facetiously hyperbolic, okay? You're being facetiously hyperbolic, and if you just wouldn't, that'll be appreciated.
So the thing with Dan is, Dan's learnt a new word whenever you speak to him on the phone or in person, and you just start using it like constantly over like a 4 or 5 day period. I'm just like, you've definitely read that somewhere. And now James Smith PT definitely said that in his last video.
He's going to listen to this, mate. He's not going to listen to this. He unfollowed me on Instagram. He followed me, came to one of our house parties, and then unfollowed me. I'm fine, I'm over it.
Shout out to James PT.
Oh,
can you please follow this man back?
Come on, give us a follow.
He's not been doing well since then. And also Abby Chatfield, please follow this man as well.
Reply to one of my DMs at any point. There's like 50 of them.
Genuinely, please respond to one of them. It would make his year, and the year's almost over.
I got an interesting email this morning. So they probably send this email out to loads of different people. I might be on the mailing list. I don't know why I'm on the mailing list for this. It's for blow up dolls. No, it's not really. It's no, that goes through some other email address. It's for, I got asked to come on for an audition because I applied just for the bands for the Bachelorette. Right? I was talking to my housemate. Yeah, do you remember? I was talking to my housemates and I was like, oh, fuck it, let's give it a go. It could be fun.
That's funny.
So I applied for it, got halfway through, and then they called me. They're like, hey, we had a look at your profile. Man, you look like the dog's bollocks. We'd love to have you on. You'd make our day. We saw the podcast page as well. You guys are absolutely killing it.
You're just chatting shit.
No, but he did call me, and he was like, look, we had a look at your Instagram page. Can you complete the application? Come in for an audition next week. I had loads of stuff going on with work, and I was like, I can't, because if I do go through to the next stage, I had stuff going through with work, and I was like, I can't. If that did happen, I'd feel bad giving up what I'm doing at the moment because for a couple of months on a show. So I didn't do it. I didn't go any further. You
have to think long term with those things, though.
I know, but I was like, where I was in my work, I was on the cusp of but where I was in my work, I was at the peak of progressing into something that I needed to spend my time doing to be promoted into this role, which is going to be better for my career. And that's my. It'd be better for my career. So I turned it down. Anyway, and then I got an email today saying if I want to be the barman for first dates. How fucking sick would that be?
That's an automated email out to loads of people.
Right, okay. So I'm saying, okay, I'm assuming it's an automated email because it said hi and then the wrong name. I was like, my name's not Janet. Anyway, how sick would that be? Mate, I think I'd actually do really well at that job, like being the barman. You know, they turn up, bit nervous. Have you seen First Dates?
I've probably watched one episode.
Yeah, so they basically rock up. The lad's usually there. He's waiting for the bird to come, and then they sit down, do like a whole meal thing. Anyway, so I'm like, I think I'd be really good at that. So be behind the bar. All right, mate.
Never worked behind a bar before.
No, but it said on the thing you don't need any bar experience. You just need to be able to just talk and chat shit and just be confident. And I was like, this would be quite fun. He said like you need to be able to pour a pint, and it's like it's not that hard. Anyway, so I'm like, imagine being behind the bar and the guy comes in, all right, mate, a bit nervous. Pop the bluey, have you? Fucking, you a bit nervous with your date. I think it'd be really good at that. Do you know what I mean? Give him like the calm his nerves, have a bit of a chin wag. I think it could be good. I actually thought, I was like, I'd love to do that. That would be like the perfect role. The barman for first date. Just chat shit with them. You nervous for your first date, mate? Oh, what's she gonna look like? Have you been catfished? Oh, you never know. Do you know what I mean? No? Yeah, decent. So that's what I thought I was gonna... Nice candle.
Did you apply? Did you respond to the email?
I did, but it said blocked. No, I didn't respond. But I might actually do it just for the band. I might do it.
But how long will you have to take off work, though?
I think it's like 8 weeks.
8 weeks solid?
I think so. So
you take off 8 weeks to be a barman, but then you wouldn't take off 8 weeks to like be in the Bachelorette?
Because I didn't want to be on the Bachelorette. One sec, let me have a look at... Because I'd rather be like the Bachelor, but I turned that down because that's just not for me. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't really match my style.
You definitely suit the demographic that they're looking for.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. No, I can't find it.
Funny that.
I'll find it here. First date. Oh, here we go. So we are looking for a bar person. Fucking Alexa. We're looking for our first bar person. We're looking for an extroverted, confident 25 and up year old who loves to have a chat. No previous bar experience necessary. It's Sydney based, have full-time ability for an audition on the 29th. It's a paid opportunity. The deadline is by the 28th of this month. Okay, so it doesn't actually say how long, but I'm guessing it will be over like somewhere from like...
So you just confidently guessed
I'm guessing it'll be like over 6... you'll have to be there the whole program. Do you know what I mean? You're on all the dates, so I assume it will be like a whole process. But yeah, I might apply for it. It could be fun. Imagine seeing me on TV. Shout out, subject to change. Oi, oi.
Are you the barman from First Dates?
Are you the guy on Mr. Combank's podcast? Yeah.
So thank you for coming to my podcast for the 22nd time. I appreciate that.
One of our mates said that last night. She's like, you're just like an
last night?
Tyra said this. She's like, you're just an ongoing guest on Dwayne's podcast, aren't you? She's like, you're a consistent guest on his podcast. And I was like, and you can fuck off.
The fans love you, mate.
That's just what
I wouldn't have it any other way.
I just thought one day the logo is going to change. It's just your face. I'd be like, great. Awesome.
Oh, God. Well, hello, everyone. We are today going to be talking some shit.
Some shit, boy.
Some good shit. But as always, please like, follow, comment on all our social media platforms. Get us on the old TikTok. We're trying to catch up with the old Gen Zs. We've been... couple of decent videos up there hitting 30,000 views. Can't really complain. So keep that going. But today, if you've been on either mine or Dan's Instagram or the Subject to Change Instagram,
which I'm sure you have,
which obviously you have because you haven't your notifications switched on, we are going to be talking about what are the key things that we learned and what some of you learned about yourselves or the other person when you were in a relationship or a quote-unquote situationship. So situationship is kind of, for anyone that doesn't know, is just a point within a time when you're with someone where it's not a fully pledged relationship, but there is somewhat of a emotional and physical connection or commitment to each other without the quote-unquote label of a girlfriend or boyfriend, which I'm sure many of us have been in one. Mm-hmm. Have you, Daniel?
I have indeed.
He has. He's been in quite a few.
I don't want to.
And he's also been in 2 long-term relationships, which will be great to
Which I've never spoke about before.
Yeah, he's not really like enjoying to open up about it, but I'm glad he's here to do that today, which is actually a good thing that you have been into like 4-year relationships, because I haven't. So I think
I thought you was leaving that there. It's good that you have, because I haven't.
No, because I guess like the experiences are going to be different.
Yeah.
In terms of probably what you learned from yours and what I've learned from mine, because 4 years is a long time, and you get to know someone a lot better over 4 years, obviously, than you would over, I guess, a year.
Yeah.
I guess I was saying this to someone the other day. I find the reason why a lot of relationships, one of the reasons why a lot of relationships nowadays break down is because we're in a day and age now where people put on a facade whenever they first meet you. And within the first year of being with someone, it's so easy to like pretend to be something that you're not. Mm-hmm. Pretend to like hide those little flaws that people probably won't like about you.
The polished version.
Yeah, you polish, especially within the first, I'd say, 6 months. You're gonna be the best version of yourself whenever you meet someone, because it's the wooing stage, you're chasing, and then the more comfortable you get with someone, the more you start to let down your guard, and the more you, which is a good thing, because when you get comfortable, you want to be able to let down your guard, but sometimes people let down the guard and forget, oh my goodness, I forgot about this part of myself that I don't like, and now they've seen
I'm
it.
an absolute fucking psycho.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Not to that level, but you know what I mean.
Well, I feel like you can't think about getting serious with someone. I think you can't do that until you're at least like 12 weeks. 12 or 16 weeks in.
3 months.
Like, yeah, 3.5 months. Because like you really have no idea what that person's like.
Even at 3 months, you don't know.
Yeah, it depends. Look, if you're at 3 months, you're going on like 2 dates a week. What's that? What's quick maths on that? 2, 4, 6, 8. That's like 8 dates? No, 6 dates over. Sorry, twice a week. So 2 dates a week over 3 months. How many dates is that?
That's 12 weeks. So that's 24 dates.
24 days.
Yeah.
It's a fair amount of dates, to be honest. 24 dates. If you're seeing someone twice a week, I think over 3 to 3.5 months, you can kind of assess like where you're going to be. But like any sooner than that, I just feel like, I don't know, like you don't know that person.
But then also, again, it goes back to like, even in those 3 months, you're still going to be relatively new. Just because you're going on that many dates doesn't mean like the amount you know about that person is going to be as vast. Like you're probably going to get into a bit of nitty gritty, but they're only going to reveal the nitty gritty to you that they want to reveal. And I don't think it's until like, for example, when you move in with someone and you're like on top of each other all the time, that's literally when you start to see parts of someone that you don't enjoy. And that's why a lot of couples, when they move in with each other, they potentially can break up, because it's like, holy shit, like you're really untidy and you're not even like getting better. And we've been with each other and living together for like 2 years.
Are you aiming that at me?
No, but you are untidy.
Can't believe this.
But yeah, so but I digress in that one. But yeah, so that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about today. And we're also going to like touch on some of the stuff that you guys also sent in.
Yeah.
I've got a list. I'm assuming you have some as well.
Yeah.
Good man. So I feel like the best way to do this, so we don't throw any of our past things under the bus, is to not do it in chronological order. So I was thinking, like,
okay.
Because I was chatting to someone this week, it's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to do it in chronological order. And then she's like, don't do that. I was like, why? Yeah. Because they'll let you know who you're talking about. I'm like, yeah, that's fair.
Oh, that's okay. I have a feeling these people do not listen to this podcast. So fuck it. 2
of mine do.
Do they?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. They'll know who they are when I talk about it though.
So fuck it. Let's just.
I'm still not doing chronological order.
Okay, same. I won't.
Because there's probably like a couple. One of them's quite harsh. So.
Quite harsh.
Harsh, yeah.
What do you mean? Like she'll like message you and be like,
no, it's just like that. This one actually taught me the things that I don't want.
Does she live in Bondi?
No. She doesn't. Alright, calm down.
Oh, okay.
But I've dated a few people in Bondi, so it could be anyone.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so do you want? Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll go first.
Yeah, go.
Okay.
Have you got your little list?
So I'll talk about mine.
We don't even talk about all of them once. We'll just go back and forth and just see how the conversation flows. Oh,
Okay, one of the things I had from someone.
turn around because the camera's in
Sorry.
there.
One of the things that I had sent in from someone is that in order to foster like open communication, you need to create a safe environment. I really, really like this because one of the things that I learned growing up is what my mate used to call, and I don't know if it's like in psychology books or whatever it is, we used to call it like the go first principle. So what you want to get out of a situation, you have to put into a situation. So if you want someone to be vulnerable and you want someone to be like communicative, you have to show those traits instead of just asking for it and see if they can like mirror it.
Yeah.
And if they can't, then you can assess whether it's the right or wrong situation. So I think a lot of people, they want something they're not willing to put in. So I really like that. The go first principle is give what you want to take out from a situation. So if you want someone to open up, open up.
Yeah.
If you want someone to talk, you talk first and give something about
I feel
yourself.
like you're better at that than me. I don't do that.
Yeah, I do that probably too much.
I remember when we went skiing and we were drunk in the bar and you like, I feel like you don't want like open up to people, and then you sort of open up to me. I was like, mate, why are you doing this to me? Why are you drunkenly open up to me at the bar? We've only known each other like a month and a half.
I was like, mate, I feel like you don't open up. I'll go first. So when I was younger, I tasted my own semen. Now you. And you're like, so anyway, it's been a good 2 weeks knowing you.
Oh, but yeah, I find opening up and being vulnerable very difficult.
Yeah.
For sure. It's just because I just find it hard to just trust people's genuine intentions. You know what I mean? I always like expect the worst but hope for the best. That's the way I look at things. Which
That's
is
genuine human connection, though. I think it's hard to have that without that. I find it empty.
What do you find empty?
Connection.
The connection.
Human connection, relationships, friendships. Without that, I'm like, it's just surface level.
But I feel like you are more inclined to like share and quote unquote overshare than most.
Yeah, definitely. I think I do overshare some funny shit. I overshare more funny shit than deep shit with some people because I just think it's funny and it makes people feel comfortable. And I find it funny as well. There are some stories that I don't mind going into. And I find that people then feel more comfortable to open up about their funny stories and stuff like that. And I like it because that's when you start building real connections with people. And that's the stuff I really enjoy. And so I would only do that with people who I think I want to get that out of.
Oh, that's very true.
Yeah.
And I find that even when you share the stuff that are funny and people are like, that's actually disgusting, your vulnerability is like to an extent quite endearing, and it actually makes people want to be around you because if you're like that open and honest about, because people want to be around people that are honest and they feel that are being honest. Like if you know someone that's like always just chatting shit and just always like either lying or like over exaggerating a story, just stop talking, mate. Where if you're like around people that will tell you random weird shit like you did at skiing about the semen thing, where it's like, why would you even come out with that? But
I said that at a full table as
at
well.
a full table, expect that. But you did it as well. You did. It's like, no one tastes their semen, Daniel.
When I was like, and I'm sure people have done this.
I feel like
when I was like, I don't know, like 28.
27.
No, when I was like 16, I had a wank and I tasted my own semen. Tasted my own cum. I was curious. I was like, well, do you know what I mean? If anyone
You're
says they
going
have
through puberty, yeah, I'll let you with that.
Yeah, and I was
but
like,
it's not fine
curious.
when you're 26.
Nah. I haven't. I honestly only did it once because I was like, I don't need to do it again. But I was like, I'm just curious. Like girls will do it and girls will, swallow and whatever it is. I'm like, why can't? I don't know. It's like, it's not. Anyway, so I said it at the table.
In front of people he'd only known probably 2 days.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, guys, yeah, so did this. And I was like, but you all know that, right? And they're like, no. And I was like, you know what? I'm just saying the stuff that everyone else is too scared to fucking admit most
Or
of
maybe
the time.
just no one's ever tried. No, I don't think.
No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I believe so many stuff that I say, people just don't want to admit it. I'm just willing to just say the stuff that people want to say.
I feel like that one was not one that people...
Give it a go, mate.
So you had one from someone else. What about you? What did you learn from your first... You've only had really like two relationships.
Yeah, 2 like long-term relationships. So my first one was, I guess, like puppy love when I was like 17.
Okay.
So we were together for like 5 years, from 17 to like 21. And I think the biggest thing I learned is like being comfortable doesn't necessarily mean you're happy. And I think that... Oh, sorry, I just burped.
Lovely.
I think that, being comfortable doesn't necessarily mean you're happy. I think I was in this relationship for so long and I didn't realize, it's like I was sheltered from so much around me. I didn't realize till I got out of that relationship. I was like, fuck. I was like blindsided. Not like brainwash isn't the right thing, but it's like I had like the wool over my eyes a bit and I didn't know what else was out there. And when I did meet my next girlfriend, I was like, fuck, what have I been doing with this last girl? I was like, I didn't realize that I could be stimulated in all these different ways. And was I even interested in this girl in the first place? So I think one of the biggest things that I learned from that is, being comfortable and it being easy doesn't always mean that you're happy.
Yeah.
But I think that's just something you learn with time. So now it's like when I do go on dates and I'm hanging out with people, there's a lot more things that like need to be ticked off.
Yeah.
And I'm not as easily pleased anymore.
Yeah.
It's not just like, cool, we get along. Oh, fucking hell, we belong together. Do you know what I mean?
Because you're going to get along with like so many people.
Where before I would have been like, oh my God, we just get along. This is just great. And it's just like, probably that was to do with my own insecurities, why I like fell in love so easily.
Yeah.
Where now it's like, that's a lot harder to do.
Did you fall in love as easy with your second?
Yeah, really big time. Yeah, because, I guess my first missus, she won't listen to this, but, I felt that mentally we just weren't on the same page. I kind of always felt like the smartest person in the room. And you know what they say, if you're the smartest person in the room,
you're in the wrong room.
And I met my next missus and,
she was way smarter than you.
She incredibly intelligent,
Yeah.
like mind-blowingly intelligent. Still to this day, one of the, greatest minds I've known for a really long time.
You need some more people.
Yeah, well, but anyway.
I'm joking. If you're listening to this, girlfriend, ex-girlfriend.
If you are listening, if she does, she'll take the compliment. So anyway, and then I met her and I was like fucking blown away. But then there were loads of other things that weren't working. So I'll get to like what I learned from that relationship in a bit. But I realized how different it was when I met someone else. And it's like, fuck it. I just hadn't exposed myself to like enough things.
Yeah.
So the fact I was that blown away from that person, and it's just like I wasn't exposed enough. And I think that's the issue sometimes getting in relationships when you're very young. You kind of close yourself off to so much in the world.
100%.
It's like when I grew up and I, even like cultures, growing up around different cultures, I didn't know about other cultures really until I went to uni. And it's like, fucking hell, there's so much more out here. And it's like, you can't blame it. It's because...
Was she Jewish?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She was. And her family were like very Jewish. Not very Jewish, but they were like, kept Shabbat. And she wasn't. She would like eat pork and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But her family were quite...
Do you ever find... Because the thing about ease and comfortability is like a massive one for me now. Because I find there's been a lot of people that I've been involved with, dated, been in like these situationships with, where it wasn't like easy. It's like I always felt like there was like this like tug of war of like trying to figure out where each other's heads at. It's like, oh, does she like me? Does she not? And I'm just like, I'm like so tired of it. Like whenever you start dating someone and there's like, there's a flirtation stage and you're like dating, but then sometimes you're like, I wonder if they actually want to hang out today, or are my feelings for her then reciprocated back from her? Like how I'm kind of like lost, and it's like a little bit more difficult. It's like there's this turmoil of emotions, but no one's even like being open and like trying to explain to each other what and how they're feeling. And I find, especially with someone that I dated, I found that was a massive part of what I learned about what I need from someone.
I know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about. Like she was like an unreal communicator, which was like rare to find. Secure attachment style, which is like rare to find. And like whenever I spoke to her, like she, the when you speak to someone and you can like tell they're just dying to just get their word in, and just like they just want to like talk, and they're just listening to like just respond instead of listening to like understand.
Yeah.
And with her, she like listened, and you could tell whenever she was like, I was speaking, she was actually like taking like proper interest in what I was saying. And even when we were sending voice notes and stuff, she was like very, very much like involved in the conversations. Like, oh, how'd this go? Like, what's happening with this? Even if I'd mentioned something 3 weeks ago, it's like, oh, what's the update on that? And I'm just like, what are you?
It's very attentive.
Yeah, I was very like, what, are you okay?
Why aren't you ignoring me?
Yeah, it's just like, why are you like being so attentive to me? This is like not what I'm used to. And it's like, it was a very like weird but good feeling. And then it's like, this is actually what I want. Because normally the girls that I've been with, there's always like some sort of like
that weren't compatible with.
yeah, there's some sort of always like there's always something that's going to make this more difficult than it needs to be. Whether there's their attachment style, whether it's like a past like ex-boyfriend that's kind of fucked them over and now they can't do this and now they can't do that. And as I said, the easy bit about it was like neither of us left each other doubting like how we felt. Because whenever we need to have the conversation, one of us just like brought it up, and that was that. And
I think that's good.
Yeah,
I think that's amazing.
But like, you don't get that very often, though. That's the issue.
I think that you meet people, and this is what I found, is like you meet people who set like pillars for what you need, and I don't think you figure those things out. And that's why it's important to be on your own, because I personally don't think you figure these things out until you meet multiple people.
Yeah.
And it's not just about going around shagging and stuff like that, but it's generally about going on dates and connecting with people and be like, oh my God, that's something that I actually am really into. And that's a value that I really respect.
Yeah.
And I need that. Not that I want to be with that person because there are other things that won't work.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that is a pillar for what I need now.
It's like whenever you date people, you're meeting them and finding out small little things from each person that you like, and like, okay, I need some of this ambitious. This person isn't a good communicator, but this person is a good communicator and ambitious. And then they have something else that you take from that. It's like, okay, this person has all three of those things that they individually had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like each time you date someone, you find something that you do like, and then you probably find something that you don't like. And it helps to like give you a clear understanding of what you need in a partner. And at the end of the day, whenever you're dating with intention to like...
To date.
To date or to... find a partner, find a relationship, find a husband or a wife, like you should be picky.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. People's like, oh, you know, you need
you
to
should
like,
have you should
you
have
can't
high
find
standards.
the perfect girl, and it's like I'm not looking for perfect.
Nah.
I'm looking for values that I respect. They don't need to be perfect, man. I don't want perfect. I'm not perfect. No one's fucking perfect.
Exactly.
But you can still have core values. That you're like, I need that in someone. And that's perfectly okay to go for. If you're saying I want to spend the rest of my life with this person, and I can't fucking be picky. Are you joking?
Yeah, and I find a lot of people like settle because they feel as if their standards are probably too high.
Some people probably like are too like pernickety, but that's like when you speak to those people, some of the things they're after are very, very specific. Like very specific. You know, like they need to be a certain height, or they need to be like a certain like there's a few like things that are very specific where like when you look at core values, that's something that I think is achievable.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We're gonna go to something that someone wrote in.
Go on. Is this about the bigger the bunda, the harder you fall?
That is very true, though.
That hit me hard.
That is very, very true. One was learning to respect my boundaries, because when I didn't, my partner didn't. And they were like learning how to say no.
Did they say what it was, or no? It was just that?
Nah, just like that.
I think that's like really... I think that's definitely something that's really interesting to like pull away. Because... No, so sorry, you go. I got stuck for my words.
Yeah, so when I read that, learning my boundaries, because when I didn't, neither did my partner. I think, and then she said about just learning how to say no. I think it gets to the point where people can feel as if they're probably the lesser in the relationship sometimes. And then whenever they feel like they're the lesser in the relationship, and if their partner is someone that can sense that as well, they can take advantage of that. And then they just become a yes person. It's like I've had an ex who was a yes person, and I didn't like it. Like always agreed with everything I said. I always just thought to myself, I have opinions. There's no way in hell you can agree with everything I've said. I was like, yeah. Really? No, you know what I mean? So I think whenever they actually said something about the no test. So whenever they would go on like a first or second date, they would always decide just to say no to something random, and then just like
you told me about this just to see
how that person reacts. So it could be something as simple as like a shot or a drink, and they were just like, if the guy was like, "Do you want a drink?" and they're like, they say no, and the guy's like, "Oh, come on," they're like, "No," and if the guy says it again, it just puts them off. It's like if you can't just accept the no to just a drink, Like, what other situation are we going to be in where if I tell you no, you're going to be adamant, and in a situation where I probably won't be in a place where I can even get away, you know what I mean? If we're going to push it to like that level of like, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we're going to push it to that level, they say that they always try the no test. It was actually a girl that I went on a date with, and she did it on me, and I passed.
Did you?
Yeah, but I don't know what the question was. She wouldn't tell me.
Can I not go back to yours? No.
Yeah, I was just, oh, did you do it, me? She's like, yeah. I was like, when? She's like, well, not telling you when, but you said no. Oh, you were like, okay. I was like, yes.
Can I come back to yours, Dwayne? No. He's the man for me.
Oh, you raised me right, mother. You raised me right. So
I think I've like swore minimally today as well. I know she was hoping to hear me.
You said CUNT. So
did I?
Yeah.
Oh, but I don't think I've been swearing. I hopefully haven't been swearing as much. Hopefully I haven't. I'm trying to minimise it.
We're getting better, mother. We're getting better.
She's keen to listen.
What else did you learn from your most recent one, or do you have one from the most previous one, or the first one?
I think something I learned from one of my previous relationship is.
Are you doing any about your situationships?
I'm just not going to say which one it is.
Oh yeah, that's fine. As long as you're doing ones about them. Because I think I'll be able to engage with those more because I've been here.
I think that something that I learned from one of the relationships / situationships that I've been in is I need to being able to be vulnerable. Sorry. Someone being able to be vulnerable and be an effective communicator is like really, really important to me.
Okay.
Because I think I've come across people before, and I've done this in the past, where I see something wrong with someone and I'm like, I really want to like fix this. I'm like, oh, I really want to fix this. I really want to work on that. And it's like an innate thing, and it's to do with like my childhood and stuff that I've been through and how I was brought up. And I did that with some of my exes. Some of my exes, they had things about them and I was like, oh, I could change this, and I loved it. And I did this to my friends, and I would like want to work on them and fix them and make them better and like elevate them. And it's okay, but it's like you end up draining all your resources. So like that was a big part of me, and I think I used to confuse being able to work on a project to loving someone. And I think those for me used to like kind of overlap.
Yeah.
When now they're not in the same boat anymore. I don't think they're in the same boat anymore. So one of the things I learned from one of the relationships, like situationships, was I can't work on projects. So I know that, when it got down to it and I felt that this person had things about them that they really needed to work on, I was like, I can't go forward with this because of that. Because I just can't. It's going to drain me, and it's not fair.
When you figure that out?
I think like over the first like couple of months, there were like kind of signs and like red flags for me, and I was like, and I remember I'd spoken to you about it, and I was like, and I was like, this for me is a bit of an issue, and it's kind of like deterring me. This person I thought was great, honestly, was actually incredible, humor incredible. The experience was amazing, but there were these few things I was like, that for me is like a pillar that I now need moving forward. And I've learned this from my last relationship. I need this. I need someone who's already worked on themselves, who's worked on this communicative side, who's worked on being vulnerable, who's okay being open. I can't be your project manager.
Yeah.
Because if I do, I'm going to end up resenting you for it. And that's not fair. And I don't want you to be that person.
Yeah,
I don't want to see you like that. So one thing I've learned is now moving forward, there are things that I can pick up because I'm quite open on dates and stuff like that, and I'm quite comfortable with myself. And you kind of have like, like the no test. Yeah. There are things that I can do, and there are conversations that I can bring up.
Yeah, that kind of gives you a gauge
if they're like vulnerable, talking about their emotions, their feelings, their experiences, their past, their present and stuff. And if they kind of like hesitate and all this.
How early do you do that though?
Or if I'm hanging out, well, not on the first date, but if I'm like hanging out with them.
Yeah. Over like a period of time.
Over a period of time, I can start gauging those conversations.
Little questions.
And their reactions is a big sign for me of like, okay, this person, there are things that have happened to them in their past and experiences that are stopping them. They need to work on that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. They might be in the process, but I can't be asked to be involved in it. I kind of need to be with someone who's already working on their shit or has worked on their shit. Someone's working on it, cool, awesome, love that. Or fucking, but if I have to be the driver of it, nah, I can't do that.
If you have to be the driver of it, then it's never going to work. They're going to have to like want to
Yeah, you can't push someone through the door. You can only show it to them. So that for me is like a big fucking thing now.
That's good that you've got to a stage where you realize that that's something that you have and had been doing, and now you're transitioning out of that. Because I feel a lot of people will always go back to what they know.
It's hard. It's addictive because the biggest addictive thing about it is that if you've got your own like childhood traumas or issues and stuff like that,
then you don't have to deal with your shit because you're helping them with theirs.
You work on someone else, and because you make them feel better, you feel better about your shit. And you're like, oh yeah, that's so good. I'm working on them. You're like, that's not the same as dealing with your shit.
Yeah. Do you think that's why that was probably a part of it? You knew like there's stuff that you probably needed to deal with, but you.
I think, to be honest, I think I have like worked on a lot of my shit through my own personal development, self-reflection. I think I have, but I think there will always be a tendency in me to want to work on other people. There will always be that tendency because it's just a part of who I am. But I'm like I have enough self-awareness to shut it off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, I'm not doing this. Even though I want to, I'm like, oh, nah, I'm not doing it.
It's almost in another sense when people date someone that they know they're not gonna like be with for a long time, you know, like that they know there's certain aspects about that person that like they don't see in the future, but they still date them because then it kind of deviates them that from the idea of like committing to someone. Like, yeah, if I date her for a while, then like the idea I don't need to worry about commitment because in my head it's not gonna work. So I'm gonna get all the good things out of this that I can without actually having to like fully commit. It's like you know there's like little things about her or him that aren't what you like, but you do it because it's gonna fill like that hole or that like that bit of or that puzzle in your life for that moment in time, without actually having to have that overly committed part of you into it, which I used to do. I literally, for some reason, I used to always gravitate to or attract girls that weren't ready to fully commit, and then the idea of them not committing or wanting to commit to me fully like drove me to like want them more.
It's like an ego stroke.
Yeah, it's just
if
like
they change for you, then you manage to change them.
It's almost like me changing their mind would have been like a win. You know what I mean? Just because
there's probably a lot there, to be honest. There's probably a lot to unpack.
Yeah, I will see my therapist. But
is she listening to this?
A therapist?
Yeah.
I doubt it.
It'd be interesting if she does. Be like,
she doesn't have a podcast. I haven't told her yet.
Oh, okay. So she heard it. It's on your next session. So I should listen to the podcast. You're pretty fucked.
She says I'm alright. There's worse out there.
She says you're right whilst writing 1,000 words. Yeah, you're fine.
She actually went through like a whole booklet. It was weird. It's like, is this normal? It's like, don't ask questions.
She wrote a whole book. What did you write? I just wrote you're fine.
But that is one thing. So another thing that I learned from a past relationship was I'd always like a lot of times struggled to like give myself 100% to someone. And with this one, this girl was like the first time I was ever able to like, I met someone and was like, this is it. I don't want to tell the timeline. Doesn't matter. Okay. I just graduated uni.
Oh, okay.
Met this girl and I was like, yo, this is lit. This is class. I'd like met her and I was like, geez, like this amazing. So I started dating her 100% in it. And for years I was never capable of being 100% into someone and just being tunnel vision. But with this person, I was able to be 100%. And didn't work out, obviously, because I'm now single. Obviously. But for me, it was a win-win because for years before that, I thought I wasn't going to be capable of 100% giving myself to someone. So the way I looked at it is when it was over was that I was able to give myself 100% to someone. It didn't work out, but at least now I know that I'm capable. I'm actually able to do it. So even though we didn't work out, I now know whenever I meet someone else, I know that I'm going to be able to actually give 100% to this relationship with no doubt. Because I didn't actually have any doubts with her initially, obviously, until leading up to the point that we broke up. And then also, on the other hand, me giving 100% to her, if it did work out, it would have meant that we would have probably still been together. You know what I mean? So on both hands, giving 100% didn't work out, but I realized that I was capable of doing so.
Do you think you tried to give 100% because you just wanted to see if it worked, or you naturally were able to do it because you thought they were the right person?
No, I thought she was the right person. Yeah, and we still have a good relationship to this day. Don't talk as much. But like in terms of like the relationship, it's fine. Like if I was to see her, we just chat away as usual. But yeah, it was one of those. It was one of those ones. It was probably just the wrong time in both our lives. And at the end of the day, the way both our lives are now, it probably worked out for the best. She's like living a good life wherever she is. Shout out to you wherever you are.
Is this the one you're speaking about all the time when we're not recording?
I'm not speaking about it. She actually did say she's gonna listen to this episode though, because she responded to the story with her own thing. But yeah, I thought she was the one that really allowed me to kind of open up and realize actually I'm capable of actually loving someone and
that's cool, man.
Giving my all. So shout out to you.
Mate, that's cool.
You're the real MVP out here.
Oh, mate. Should we tag her in the post when we put it up?
Yes.
I think that's cool. I just think that's to like be able to like open up like that, to know you've got the capability to do that. I think it's cool.
It was more the vulnerability thing, because I'm not someone that allows himself to be very vulnerable. Like it is very difficult for me to really open up, and I'm the type of person that a lot of people know but don't actually know. I give enough of myself that people think that they know me quite well, but it's just like you actually don't know me as well as you think you do. You know what I mean?
I kind of think that I'm like quite similar in that aspect. Not like the same, but I'm very open, but I'm not vulnerable with everyone.
Yeah,
like I'll tell these stories that are fucking open.
Yeah,
and very controversial.
You're probably like me as well. You're like another level to me, but you would open up and tell random funny stories that you probably shouldn't tell people that aren't your mates. So they're like, oh my god, Dan, I know him so well. I was like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't. He's fucked.
Yeah.
You don't know him well.
And then they're like, oh my god, he's actually opening up. Oh my god, this is way too much to handle.
But yeah, yeah, people get enough of you where they feel like they are like they know you so well, but they don't really.
I think that so this is a big thing I learned from my previous relationship. And I was with this person and I realized over time we just weren't compatible because we were just two very different people. She, I think, was like and she'll say this herself, she's like an older woman trapped in a younger woman's body. And I think I'm a kid trapped in an older person's body. And I think we were just very different. And there were, she's Australian, I'm English. I think we're very different in terms of our humour. She grew up very close to the family. I didn't. There were certain like differences in our values and what was important for her, what wasn't important for me. And I think that, I'm quite, being English, we're very blunt with our humour. We're very direct. We're not snowflakes. And I found her to be quite a bit of a snowflake sometimes and be offended by like a lot of my jokes
you tell me though?
Anything I'd say to you, but she would get really like annoyed and like
I'm offended by the jokes you tell me.
Well, this changes the conversation. I'm actually very offended.
I'm offended by whoever you are. I'm offended by jokes. So don't feel like you're in the wrong. They're very offensive half the time. I tell him he can't say things, but he still says it. So don't worry.
Well, I basically like over time, I had to like sweep parts of myself under the rug.
Okay.
And over like time, I became someone that I didn't even recognize anymore.
Actually, some of the followers sent me something along those lines about what it was.
Was it my ex?
No. This says, you can't change the person you're with and they can't expect you... Sorry, you coughed and it put me off. Okay. You can't change the person you're with and they can't expect you to change for them. They are responsible for their own actions and thoughts. It's not your responsibility to fix everyone. Which is kind of where you're going with. You're like, you felt like you were trying to like change parts of you.
Be someone else.
Yeah.
I think there were parts of me, like I I say what I think, and some of the stuff I say is quite controversial, and I just don't give a fuck, and it makes some people uncomfortable, but I think it's funny, so I'll fucking say it. So I really, really don't care. I've realised I've just sworn multiple times in that sentence. I'm sorry, Dwayne's mum. Please. I'm very sorry. I heard it, I was like, oh, I said fuck like twice in a sentence. God, I'm such a pig. Anyway.
Her issue is like you swear so much in one sentence when there's no need to say that many F words.
I realised it.
It's just like, it's a six-letter sentence and he says fuck 3 times.
All he said was fuck and left it there. Anyway, so I realised, wait, what was I just saying? That was in mid-flow of a sentence. Anyway, so I would say things that are quite controversial and I would think they're funny, but she would always like be quite offended and tell me I can't say that and stuff like that. And I would, as a joke, I'd be like, oh, like, oh, you're being a bit of a cunt, but like in like a bantery way. And she'd be like, don't call me that, or like, don't be. And I'm like, that's not like, I'm not trying to say it at you. It's just I'm saying about the situation. And I feel that we were just very different. She would take what I said, like, she would be offended by like,
if you called her that and she's like, don't call me that, I feel like that's just like,
well, no, but like I would say
standard
by accident in like passing sometimes
to her.
Yeah, just by accident.
You're calling her that, or you just saying the word.
Yeah, just the word, and she would constantly be offended by it, and I'm just like. So that is just a very small part of it, but there were certain things I would do or certain things I would say. Part of my personality about who I am, certain bits of like my humour and my banter, and that for me is a really big part of who I am. And I had to just start sweeping it under the rug, and I kind of really started to resent myself.
Yeah.
Because I became someone who wasn't me anymore. And it's really hard when you have to constantly change who you are for someone else. It's very like downgrading, and you feel really awful about yourself because you become someone who you don't really recognize. And even my friends, when I broke up with her, they were like, mate, you have just completely gone back to being who you were. And it's
was it that bad?
They were like, it's so refreshing. Like, we'd be out for drinks and I could see you'd want to say what you're going to say, and you would like,
stop yourself.
And she would be like, oh, can you shut up and not say that? And I would be like, okay, yeah, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. And I would apologize for who I am. And, they were like, they felt bad for me. They were like, they could see it, and they were like, you are really not yourself anymore. And so one thing I learned from that relationship is I will not change who the fuck I am for anyone moving forward. And if someone doesn't like the sarcastic, prick, controversial shit that I have to say, well, then you probably will not get along with me, and we probably aren't meant to be.
Yeah.
And that's like a really crucial big thing, is that don't change yourself for anyone. Be who you are, and the right people will come to you.
100%.
So that was like that was a big thing that I learned, because I realized when I got out of it, how much I did like resent who I was for a while. I was like, well, I really did change everything about myself, who I wanted, my values, my wants, my humor, everything. And I was like, that is just not okay.
That is I think that's like a massive issue. Obviously this person sent that in as well, but you can't expect people to change, because at the end of the day, if you want to change because you don't like certain aspects of them, they might do it for a while, but there's only so long they're going to be able to like suppress that kind of person that they are. You know what I mean? Especially if you're planning building a life with them, you're like, this is a part of you that I don't like, and they're like, okay, sweet, I'll just change that then. In 5-10 years, 20 years, when you've got kids,
those 1%ers add up. So anyone that heard that and is like, oh, all it was, she told you not to say the word can't, that's just one example. That's just a 1%er. But those 1%ers added up to a joke, I would say, or my type of humor, and I would constantly be put down.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm suffocating.
Yeah.
I can't be me. And that's big. And I think so many people who I've spoken to have been through like a similar situation where they had to change who they are for someone else. I don't think that's fair for anyone.
No.
You should never be made to feel like you have to not be yourself.
No. Someone talked about learning their love language was a very important part of.
Yeah.
So they said, figuring out my love language made navigating through my relationships a lot easier, understanding myself and my partner. And I was like, that is a good one, because I swear, if I knew what love languages were 8 years ago, and if I knew about attachment styles eight years ago, life would have been so much easier in the relationships that I was in, for sure.
What, to like manage it, or just to like know that you need to leave it?
Nah, to manage and understand what my partner needed. You know what I mean? Just even, for example, with my last girlfriend, I didn't really know about love languages, and if I think back now, one of hers would have been quality time, and just like things like I hated jogging. I still do, but I do it a bit now. But she always wanted to go for a jog. And I was like, I just didn't want to go for a jog because I didn't enjoy it. And looking back now, it's just like her, obviously, one of her love languages is obviously quality time. I should just gone for the bloody jog. If I just gone for the jog, that would have made her day. Even like she wanted to do like facials and stuff. And when I literally said yes, she was like loving
You
life.
love a facial now.
I do now, yeah. But like back then, whenever I finally like said yes, she was on top of the world. She brought around all this plant that she had.
Oh, that's nice.
Aloe vera, like actual aloe vera plant, like peeled it back. She's like, I brought aloe vera. I'm just like, oh, bless your little cute soul. And you know, like looking back on it now, just something as simple as understanding how your partner receives love is such an integral part of ensuring that the relationship stays strong, because the way I'm going to receive love is going to be different to how your partner receives it, and the way I give love is going to be different to where your partner gives it as well. So the way you receive it, so for me, mine would be physical touch and acts of service, the way I receive it, and the way I give it is physical touch and quality time. You know what I mean? Which back then I didn't really know, but now I do. I'm just like, that just makes complete sense, because even when I'm not into a girl anymore and I'm like, oh, I'm not really into it, I now look back thinking, actually, just like when I was kind of like getting over a girl and I wasn't really into it, I even looking back, I can think the amount of times like I was like physically touching or like holding hands or whatever and hugging and spooning and whatever, like reduced drastically. And I was like, oh my goodness, that all makes sense now. And if I'd known that, I probably would have been able to notice that, assess the situation, and probably got out of it a lot quicker than I did.
Yeah.
So I think like this person saying about love language is like top.
Yeah.
For sure.
One of the ones that I got in was like being able to have a conversation with someone, and if you are having an argument, not having it flip back on you.
In what way? What do you mean?
So like, I think quite manipulative people,
okay,
when
yeah.
you have like a conversation, they're very quick to like make it out like it's all your fault.
Bit of gaslighting.
Yeah, and I think that just comes with being, I'd say that's quite like an avoid. Would you say that's like avoidant?
What, the flipping back
like
thing?
flipping it back on the other person, like making them feel like and I think that I used to do that as well. You know, if I'm backed into a corner, I would be like, just say whatever I can to fucking push the situation off, because it's a lot of pressure I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Definitely not something I would do now. But, you know, and I think that is like a really big thing to learn, is that you need someone who can like just own up to being wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
If they've hurt you and they've upset you, just, you know, someone who can be like, yeah, that was pretty fucked. I can see why that happened. And, you know, moving forward, you know, I'll try and work on that.
Yeah, that's definitely important, because I feel like the gaslighting thing is so, it's crazy, just so like toxic and narcissistic. Even when I watch, I'm just gonna say like Love Island, and there's a mad situation in the Australian one, and also in the UK one, there's a bit of gaslighting, but this one was honestly Jess. I don't like Jess.
You don't know. Jess, if you're listening to this, which you probably aren't, we don't fucking like you.
Yeah, you were so annoying on that show. Shout out to Man Like Witty. But even just watching that whole scenario unfold, I was like, how? I was baffled. The gaslighting was just so intense on national TV, and it made me feel really uncomfortable. Like to the point where this guy was like, you're just shouting. You're not listening to like, you're just listening to respond to me. I'm telling you. And he's like, he actually said, there's no point in me even saying anything, because you're just not going to believe me. It's like, I am telling you. He was like, I understand how you feel, and that's how you think it came across, but I am telling you now, that is not what I meant. And she just pretty much attacked, like, are you saying that my feelings aren't accepted or whatever? And I'm like, this is actually horrible.
It's very frustrating to listen to. How old is this person though?
I don't know. We'll message our mate and see. But yeah, so that the gaslighting thing is just a mad one. I've been gaslighted before. But luckily I'm not an insecure person where the gaslighting just didn't work, because I'm just like, you're literally gaslighting me. So like if this was anyone else who was insecure about themselves as a person,
This is what they would do.
This would like fuck them up slightly. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
But with me, I was like, you literally just gaslighted me, pretending that there was an issue, and then you started making out like I was doing something wrong when I wasn't. You just had a problem with something that you thought I'd done, which I hadn't. But you just came in pretending that I was being annoying and doing this and doing that, where I was literally just being normal. You know what I mean? So I think it's just really important to be able to like even just be aware of when you're being gaslighted.
Identify
for sure.
that kind of behaviour massively.
And if you ever have any slight indication that someone's gaslighting, you actually you just need to call them out on it, because then it'll make them take a step back and feel a little bit awkward, because like I feel like you're gaslighting because you're trying to make a situation out of nothing. I haven't done this, or you make me feel like something I've done is this, but it's actually not. You know what I mean? I think it's really important to do that.
Yeah, I've been in situations like that where someone's making you feel like, well, they say there's nothing on, but then there is, and then they keep making comments about it, and it's like you're just not talking about what's on the cards. Yeah.
I have a message. We can finish this off. A message from someone on our Instagram.
Oh, okay.
They sent in a really long message. So I'll read it.
Okay.
This one's quite good.
I had one thing to finish on as well, but I'll run by that in the end.
All right. So
Is this
says
a scenario that came in?
Yeah. So everyone, please send in your scenarios. We will obviously they're going to be anonymous, but we would be very intrigued to read them out and see if we can help you out. Hey, after listening to how well you solved another issue on the podcast, lads, I have a pretty complicated one that I wish to be anonymous. 4 years ago, I had sex with an ex. Next time I saw her out, and a few weeks later, she was pregnant. I haven't spoke to her since. Then a few weeks ago, she contacted me out of the blue, but I shut her down right away, as I am happily married now and have a house. Would you want to find out if the kid is yours? I forgot to put it was in a gangbang. My mates have said to leave it, but I thought another opinion won't hurt. So I said, thanks for sending that in. First of all, holy shit. Second, when you say it was a gangbang, do you mean the time that you had sex with her was a gangbang? As in, like, whenever he thinks she got pregnant? And he was like, yeah. He was like, yeah.
I'd say yeah.
So 4 years, had sex with her in a gangbang. Next time I saw her, she was pregnant. Hadn't spoke to her since that. Then she just contacted me out of the blue. And I shut her down because I'm married with a family in the house.
This is such like an ethical conundrum, right? Because I think this is so complex, because like, well, what do you want out of the situation? Ethically, is it your responsibility to be a dad to someone who, for a chick you had sex with years ago or however long ago, and then you haven't?
Well, he says she's an ex.
She's an ex. So is it your responsibility that if she is pregnant, I guess, do you want to hang out with this person? I don't know. I guess it comes down to like the ethical question of like where your responsibility lies, basically. In my opinion, if I got someone pregnant and I didn't know if it was me, I probably want to know if it was mine. I'll probably be like, they're an ex, they're in my life, she's clearly around like where he is. Yeah, probably. Because the other alternative is saying, I don't really care if you're pregnant. I don't want a part of you, your kid, or any part of your life. Is that wrong for him to say that? That's the whole like ethical part. Is there a wrong or right? I don't think there's like a clear-cut wrong or right. I think it comes down to where your values are. Really. What's your opinion?
I think somewhat the same as you. I think it depends what the intentions of the ex is, and then also what he hopes to get out of the situation if he decides to speak to her. I guess it's like, if you find out the kid is yours, what's gonna be your next move? Are you going to be in the kid's life? Are you going to support her? I don't know. If you're not going to be in the kid's life, are you going to support her financially? Because you don't want to be that guy that knows you have a kid in this world, even in the same city, the same country, and then be that guy that doesn't have anything to do with. And even as, for example, even if I was to meet a woman, we got married, been married for 4 years, and I find out that she has a kid somewhere, and has nothing to do with it, that would literally turn me off so bad.
That's an interesting perspective, actually.
You know what I
If
mean?
you think your partner, what would you think about them?
Because it's almost like, okay, you've got this other child somewhere else, and you're not having to do anything with it. What if we don't work out and we have kids and we split, and then are you just gonna not have anything to do with our kids? You know what I mean? If that's the way I would look at it. I'd like look at it from a holistic point of view and just flip it back. Say if I was in that situation, if we were in that situation, and so happened, are you just not gonna have anything to do with our hypothetical child? You know what I mean? So I think if this person's reaching out with the intention that she wants to either let you know it could be your kid.
See if you want to be a part of the kid's life.
Yeah, I think. But yeah, if I had a child out there, I would definitely want to know, and I would definitely do everything in my power to be in that child's life. But yeah, I wouldn't have if I had a partner and then I found out they had a kid, and knowingly one didn't tell me, or they knew and just decided not to support them in any sort of way, I'd be very, very put off.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So I guess I actually agree with you. So I guess in relation to your question, his question was, what would you do about it?
Would you want to find out if the kid is yours?
Yeah, I would be very curious.
Yeah,
I'd probably want to know.
I'd be very curious as well.
Yeah.
So
that's the answer to that question.
Yeah, go get your mouth swab, mate. Or give them a hair.
How do you know it's a mouth swab?
I'm assuming. And I've watched loads of TV shows.
The programs you've watched is how you know that.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, mouth swab, hair from a hairbrush.
You sounded like you're speaking from like experience.
Yeah, I watch a lot of TV shows.
Oh, okay, it's from TV shows. Yeah. Okay,
but yeah, I would find out if the child was potentially mine, because you don't want to be that guy.
No.
Especially if she's a single mother as well. You don't want that kid growing up without a dad if you can help it. For sure. What did you want to end with, Daniel?
I think we might be over time.
No, we can go.
So I want to see how you're going with book of the week, mate, or book of the fortnight. A lot of people have been asking me about Made in Captivity. That's a current book you're reading at the moment.
Oh yeah.
So if someone was like, okay, I'm interested in reading more. It sounds like an interesting book, or whatever it is. What's something you've learned about Made in Captivity that you're like, this is really cool and people should read this book?
I think the main thing from what I've gotten so far from the book is the healthy relationship that we need to have with our erotic side and with sex. I think a lot of people are under the illusion that when you're dating someone for an extended period of time, that the sex at some stage will just become dormant or repetitive or dead or just doesn't happen. And it can, and it does. But I think one of the main talking points in this book, and what my gal Esther does, is try to speak to her clients and help them navigate through why the sex is no longer happening as often, or why has it become repetitive. And I think the idea behind it is that we need to actively see sex as a very integral part of our relationships and a part of life. As humans, we crave physical and emotional and spiritual connection with someone, with our partners, with our husbands, with our wives, whatever. And the idea is that so much of our relationship from sex as well comes from our childhood, and also comes from how our parents were when it comes to like sex. Like, if a lot of people, especially in this book, she does a lot of like case studies with her clients, and she says there's certain of her clients who have this really unhealthy relationship with sex because in their home their parents were very prude and they wouldn't talk about sex. So growing up, they were taught that like sex is like this sinful thing, which then correlates into then their marriage life and their adult life. Yeah. Stuff like that,
yeah.
So I think the book definitely triggers me a lot. because it talks a little bit about how a lot of people find it hard to completely lose themselves in sex. Because if you think about it, the things that you would do in a bedroom, like you wouldn't dream of doing out in public.
Speak for yourself, man.
You know what I mean? Like some of the stuff
Speak for yourself.
No, like yeah. Shut up. But yeah, so she touches on the fact that whenever you're with your partner and you're having sex, that should be the moment where pretty much everything is a go. Like you can completely express yourself in any shape or form. And she finds that because people have this very unhealthy relationship or can't have it with sex, like they're very much in their heads, and they're not able to completely experience that time with their partner. But that's what I've gotten so far. There's way more to it. I've done a lot of underlining and flipping over so I can like go back.
Yeah.
But once I finish the book, I'll bring it in for an episode and we can touch on a few bits. But yeah. And you started reading Attached?
I did. I'm like 10 pages in.
Fuck's sake.
So I'm only quite early on, but it's actually really interesting.
So you haven't got to the page where you do the test?
Nah. Okay. But I actually now having a think about it. So I spoke to my ex a while back, and because it was something to do with a few different things. Anyway, and I brought up the attachment styles, and I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure I'm secure.
Yeah, I told you you're not.
Yeah, but like, hearing it from you and hearing it from her is different because she's known me for like 5. I dated her, do you know what I mean? And she's like, you're definitely fucking not.
Yeah, you're not.
And I was like, what do you think I am? She's like, I think you're very avoidant. And I was like, well, oh, really? Can I have some examples? And she's like, yeah. And she
just gets the list out.
She's like, and I just heard paper rustling. So she's had it in her back pocket for years. Well, now you're fucking asking
Did she know about attachment styles when you were with her?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. And yeah, she just started, reeling off like a few different scenarios. And I was like, fuck, wow, okay, fair enough. I think where I probably fall, I personally think is somewhere between like secure and like avoidant. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Because I think there are elements of me that is quite secure, but I definitely, now looking back, I'm like, they're a very avoidant like behavior. I don't think I'm anxious.
Yeah.
But I think, because I've seen the graph, I think somewhere like avoidant and like secure. I think that's where I would be, but I'll know when I do the test. Because I did it before, but I'll do it again and now see what the results will be and try and really think when I'm like
the further you read into the book, it'll kind of delve into the fact that a lot of people are fine until they get triggered. So anxious person, an avoidant person will seem secure until the person that they're dating does something that triggers their anxious or avoidant tendencies.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, you live in life now and you're casually dating and you're just hanging out with your friends. That will lead you to think you're secure because you haven't given yourself...
Easy.
Yeah, you haven't given yourself emotionally to someone or allowed someone in enough where they're going to trigger your avoidant tendencies or your anxious tendencies. So, like, even people that I know, I've asked them, they're like, oh, what do you think I am? They're like, oh, I'd say, like, you're secure with, like a bit of anxious. And I'm like, secure? Like, I wouldn't say I'm secure. So, when I've asked people, they're like, yeah, I'd say you're secure. But
it's because they don't see you in that light, though. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, it's really hard.
But these are people I've dated, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But then again, it goes back to the point. People will see you as that because you haven't let them in enough, or they haven't put you in a situation where your anxious or avoidant tendencies are going to like show.
I think that I know people have been in the situation where they're an avoidant, their partner's anxious, and it doesn't work because they become avoidant, their partner becomes anxious, wants more attention, they become more avoidant, they get more anxious, and it's just this whole
so the book
tornado.
Actually talks about anxious and avoidant people can't be together.
Yeah.
Or they shouldn't be together. It'll make it very
probably.
difficult.
Yeah.
It'll make it very, very difficult because what the anxious person wants puts off the avoidant, and the more the avoidant person reacts to the anxious, the more anxious. Yeah. It's just a cycle. And the further you'll get in, it actually talks about dating apps as well, and it talks about how you'll find in dating apps the majority of people on dating apps are anxious and avoidant.
Really?
Yeah,
like a mixture of both.
Yeah, so you'll meet more anxious and avoidant people on dating apps than you will secure, because what the psychologists find is that secure people are usually in relationships for like a longer period of time, or whenever they're not, they don't stay single for very long. Because the problem with anxious and avoidant people, they always seem to find issues with someone, or anxious people overthink and then ruin it, whereas a secure person is like so comfortable about themselves and so comfortable with the person they're with. Like a secure person could be with an avoidant person or an anxious person, because when the anxious person is being anxious, that secure person has the ability to like nullify the anxious tendency because they know what they need. You know what I mean? So the secure person is not going to act avoidant, so that's not going to trigger the anxious person. A secure person is secure in themselves, so they won't need to be like always wanting to be around the avoidant or always like find out where they are, texting them like, oh my God, where you been? Because they're chilled.
Yeah.
So the avoidant person never gets triggered never gets triggered, and the avoidant tendencies never actually comes to fruition.
Can you have like secure people and like avoidant people in a relationship
Yeah.
that lasts?
Yeah.
Can you have like secure and anxious people?
Yeah. The ideal situation is that if you're
both
anxious,
secure.
yeah. But if you're anxious, the ideal situation is to find someone that's secure.
Is that not the same for everyone? The ideal situation is to be with someone that's
100%.
secure?
Yeah, that's what you'd
right.
want. Yeah. But also, it's possible to move. You can switch. They say it's very hard. You have to do a lot of work on it, but it's possible to move yourself from anxious into a secure, or you can move from anxious into avoidant, or
I think
vice
that comes
versa.
to like just a lot of self-work. You just need to do a lot of
100%.
self-work, self-reflection, upskilling, you know, all that kind of stuff.
But it's a bloody good book. But anyway, thank you very much, everyone.
That was good, mate. Well, that was
Lovely
a nice
episode.
bit of therapy.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I'm so tired.
Well, guys, thank you very much for listening. Episode 22.
If you've made it this far, thank you very much.
If you have, please like, share, subscribe. Get us on TikTok, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify. Share it as well, please. Anyone sharing it on their Instagram, we do love it. It is really nice. Any kind of messages, any stories you want us to tell, any thoughts, feedback, topics, it's like really greatly appreciated.
Lovely.
And, you know, endorsements, anyone that's listening,
please send us some money.
to just flow in. Yeah,
Give us some money.
We want the money. It's Gymshark, ready whenever you are. Dan Murphy's, I'm here for you.
Right, bye everyone. Peace.
Peace and love.